There you are. Welcome back to the channel. We have all types of creepy videos, disturbing TikToks, and scary theories coming right at you. Without further ado, let's dive in.
Do you believe in aliens? Oh, this is great. So when you look at Victor Schauberger's work of 1942, he was an Austrian fellow who worked for Germany, created the first flying saucer. And what happened was after World War II, they shipped him over to the United States and they took his technology for the first flying saucer. And about 4 years later, we had the Roswell incident, and you will kind of start to understand that it's really just our own technology. There's 3-letter agencies. You kind of know them. They start with a C, then they start with an I, and then they come with an A. And those 3-letter agencies put up a whole bunch of ships up in the sky to make you believe in aliens. It also orchestrated War of the Worlds, which was a radio broadcast where they told the people that aliens were invading to kind of see what would happen. So what they use is this thing called MK Ultra to make people believe that aliens are going to take over and aliens are going to come and get us so that we can move into a new world order where we all kind of get together and us to all be grouped together and believe in this nonsense. But no, I really don't believe in the stuff that I'm being pushed onto my brain because of the fact that this is the same technology we've had for a long period of time, and they just try to push it onto you with like TV shows like Gaia that are backed by BlackRock and Vanguard. So that's kind of my thoughts on it.
It's a tough one. I don't know. I know I've seen some stuff I can't identify flying around, but have I seen a gray knock on my door? No. Do I think it's possible? It could be possible to have some type of demons put inside some type of skin suit and they try to operate in it.
What if the English language wasn't made to help you communicate, but to control you? Welcome to the Spell of English, the most dangerous operating system on Earth. This is part 2 of the Power of Words project, where we decode the world's most dangerous spells. And today we're going to pull back the curtain on English.
I was watching a kung fu flick, and as soon as someone started speaking English, they said in Japanese, "Don't you use that devil's tongue?" So, I don't know.
The official language of empires, courts, and colonizers. And I'm about to show you how this tongue was tuned for domination and how to flip the script. So number 1, English. English comes from Anglish, the language of the Angles, which is a Germanic tribe. It was spread through empire, colonization, and commerce. So this is not the natural language of the spirit. Instead is the engineered tongue for control. Why is that way? Because English is a Frankenstein language, mixed with Latin, law, Germanic, war, and French, elitism. And it's filled with double meanings, legalese, and reversals to trick the subconscious. The entire system was built to confuse, contract, and consent without realizing it. So the counter spells for this is speak slowly, speak with awareness, speak consciously, reclaim your tone, and pause. You know, silence is a sacred spell as well. Number 2, contracts and consent words. So English is a language of contract law. And this is why you sign agreements and submit forms, which are legal bindings written in spell form. Why it's this way? Because every time you say I understand, it means you're standing under authority. When you apply, you're begging for permission. And these are consent words built in everyday speech. Some counter spells for this is never say I understand. You can say I overstand or I understand. Replace apply with declare or step into. And practice saying I do not consent, especially in energetic moments. Number 3, curses hidden in common words. The architects of this language were aware of phonetic inversion magic, and they embedded opposing frequencies in simple words. Why is that way? Well, live backwards is evil. God equals dog reversed. Blessed equals be less. And it comes from Bledsian, which means marked with blood. And spell equals to enchant and bind by utterance, which is a spoken word, statement, or sound.
I know that instead of bless, you're supposed to say Kwadash. Man, I haven't said that in a long time. I gotta get back into my studies.
So these are some counter spells. Instead of saying blessed, you can say empowered or held in source. You can use creator instead of God if you want to break the dogma. And just increase your vocabulary, because every word you say, it either binds or frees you. So they didn't teach you English to express yourself, rather to suppress yourself. But now you know the code, and now you see the glyphs. And now you speak as a creator, not a consumer of spells.
I wonder what Quadash means. To sanctify or set apart. So instead of like the word holy or blessed, I believe that's the word you can use, Quadash. I catch myself saying words I didn't mean to say. Like, say if something happens, you say got, dang it. Like I literally say got, G-O-T, dang it. And I get mad at myself for saying that because it's too close. Father, forgive me, I'm trying.
First things first, I want to talk about this right here. DARPA breaks record by transmitting wireless power more than 5 miles across distance. I want y'all to understand something. First, look at that. Do you see the structure of that? First things first, I want to talk about this right here. DARPA breaks record by transmitting wireless power more than 5 miles across distance. I want y'all to understand something. First, look at that. Do you see the structure of that? Now, if we looked at this image in the 1700s, what would that be? That would be a cathedral structure. Do you see this light beam coming out of here? This would be coming out of the cymatics, out of the magnetrons that the cathedrals basically make, which would basically sync all of these buildings together. If you actually look here, this actually says transmitting wireless power. You see, this doesn't say transmitting a wireless frequency. Transmitting power. And a lot of you ask, how did the airships fly? A lot of you think it was helium and they were floating up there like a ball.
No, I think that they were harnessing the ether up in the air. Like those airships conducting ether.
Weren't. And you know what? You should have known something was special about these airships, because if it was just filled with helium, right? What would that mean? That would mean it floats up and then the wind currents can just take it and blow it anywhere. But we know that weren't the case. These things would sit up there, nice and light, and they would go in any direction they wanted to go.
Think about it. If these things were powered by the ether, they would technically never have to come down, only when people was ready to land. Like, there's no telling how far that thing could coast. If it's getting constantly energized, that's like a hydrogen powered ship. It's getting powered by the water. It's going to keep going. It never has to refuel.
And they weren't sail airships. The wind currents didn't lead them. Meaning what? Meaning they were tethered to something. They were tethered to a power source. And airships were serious. This is the inside of the Hindenburg. Lounge area inside of an airship. That's an airship hangar. These still exist. They just hide them. It was the Grand Hotel of the Air. All right, let's see what we got here. Wireless transmission power now possible. You know when this was made? In 1920. They're making it seem like it just came out now. Y'all already had this shit. Ionized air conductor? Look, dense air, look at the machines. Look at the ship right there. Transmission possible? Make sure you're reading all this stuff right here. It is a well-known fact, insulated gas is a conductor. Look at the airship. Look at this building right here. Ultraviolet, powerful metal screen, wireless energy transmitting, shooting a beam straight up, conductor of radio energy waves, doing like some weird little wavy thing in the pattern. That's how we get that wave pattern in our clouds. Let's just keep looking, keep analyzing this.
Man, I was wondering how we got those wave patterns. I thought it was HARP or something. Pattern and clouds. This. You know? It shouldn't be like that.
We're gonna get to that airship in a second. Aircraft propelled by wireless power. Look, ultraviolet beam. Look, ultraviolet beam. Look, anchoring it to Earth. It gives it power and it anchors it. Look at this right here. Stationary for radio power, isolated land. It's like this is getting power from the ether, but it's free and it's wireless power. The ship.
Wow, so it's like they're getting the energy from the ether at these buildings, and then they're able to transmit that, is what I'm getting here. It's not just soaring in the ether. Oh, that's an interesting theory.
Propulsion, radio powerful. The ship is using the same beam that the fucking Earth ship is using to power itself. These are not running on what y'all think they are running on, y'all. I'm just telling you, look at the information right here. Wireless transmit, that's was a development used to fulfill the old labor and blah, blah, blah. Use propelling vehicles, ships, trains, aircraft without having to.
Hold on, let me read it. It's blurry. Recent developments tend to fulfill the old dream of power transportation without wires. For years, men have labored in vain to transmit power without wires, and thus solve a myriad of transportation problems, such as propelling vehicles, ships, trains, aircrafts, etc., without having to include a source of power in their construction. It makes one head almost, man, this is tough, almost to think of the possibilities in such an achievement, and now the dream promises to come true. By one bold stroke, as English genius Mr. John Herringer. That's all I can read.
A source of power in their construction. It makes one heat almost real to think of the possibilities in such an achievement. Now the dream promises to come true. By one big bold stroke. Something else, I can't read the rest of that. Maybe y'all can. But
Mr. John Herringer is the secret. You know it's getting good if I'm like, where's my pen? When was the last time have I said that, guys? If you really rock with me, you would know. Back in the day, I used to be, where's my pen? I don't even have a pen up here, man. I can't find one. That's crazy. I'm just going to type it in on my phone. I text it to myself because I ain't got nobody to text. I have a text conversation. I put the text to myself. I wouldn't show y'all, but I got personal stuff on there. Like, I be texting myself when I got, when I got an idea or something I got to do, I just text myself and I read my text to what I told myself. I wish I had somebody. If you got someone to talk about this stuff with, consider yourself lucky. I have nobody. As soon as I start talking about this stuff, people just look at me weird, and family don't hit me up. Family don't call me back. I call them 5 times, send 5 texts, can't get a text, and leave me hanging. Friends leave me hanging. I text them, message them. If it's like I feel alone. But thank God I got y'all, man. I swear. I'd be feeling alone. What were we talking about again? Mr. John Herringer. Mr. John Herring. Is Hittinger or Herringer? Let's try Hittinger. Hetting. Hittinger. Wireless. This is a stretch. I doubt anything's going to pop up. Oh! We got to type it in. Mr. John Hittinger wireless. Here it is. Wow. Guys, what did we stumble upon? It is by one bold stroke, English genius Mr. John Hettinger has unthinkably opened up a way for his realizations. Like numerous other inventions, the way lay before our eyes, but we were all too blind to see it. We were working on a means of transportation, radio waves without aerials. Mr. Hettinger hit upon the idea of using ionized light beams as conductors. Obviously simple when one thinks about it. It is well known fact that an ionized gas as a conductor, in fact, the connectivity of gas in a measure of its ionization. Furthermore, it is possible to ionize gas by means of steam or ultraviolet rays. Working with these facts, Mr. Hettinger devised means to utilize them in the following manner, as shown in Figure 1. A source of ultraviolet rays, an arc or Mercury lamp. Section A. Wow. So this is a Mercury lamp, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not making this up. Where does it say that? So I can be sure you guys can see it. Ionized conductor. Furthermore, possible ionized gas. Working with these facts, devise, utilize them. Here it is. Mercury lamp. Oh, look at this. Man. Wow, look, they're breaking up the ionized air. I don't know if these mercury rectifiers shooting into the ionized air, aka the ionosphere, I don't know how they're able to transmit it though. They got the blueprints. It's over. Guys, it's over. We are all about to be conducting our own airships through wireless energy. Take a screenshot of this. Y'all better take screenshots of this. This won't be up long. Hold on. Let me get it tight for you. There. Screenshot this. I'm going to scroll up. Screenshot this. I'm going to go live and we're going to break this down. I should. Guys, screenshot all this because this is important. This is showing us how the airships was moving. People are always yelling helium. What else they say? There's another gas. Hydrogen. We're not using none of that. We're using this ultraviolet mercury lamp, shooting it, gathering it from the ionosphere. And for some reason, I don't know if the frequency has to match this. Like, I'm thinking maybe like both the frequencies are matching each other, so it's able to communicate somehow. I don't know. But if we took the time to really read this and study it, we would be able to figure it out. Aerial conductor for wireless signaling. Look, doesn't this look like the tops of those cathedrals? This figure right here, figure 8. I need to put this on my website before somebody gets this. Or gets scrubbed, I mean. Because I've got some videos that's got scrubbed. Like that whole black sun under the earth thing. You can't find it. Try looking it up. The full video, the black sun. I got it on one of my older jet ski Chuck videos. But TikTok, when TikTok went away and came back, they got rid of a lot of stuff, y'all. But your boy got it. We got to create a Dark Waters 9 archive. If you guys don't know, your boy got a website, Dark Waters 9. I don't mess with it like how I should. But it's time to get this thing back in action, y'all. Because we got some stuff we got to break down. Look, I was talking about the airships. Look, was they using that wireless technology for this? They got a house. Ancient flying. You can submit videos. But we'll get there, y'all. I'll get back to working on it. I do videos every single day. Some days I do 2 videos. Where do I have the time? I literally need 42 hours in a day. If I have 42 hours in a day, I might be able to do a little bit more, man. But I'll be on my back foot, y'all. But back to this John Hittinger. The man of the hour. Did y'all know about this? Drop in the comments. If you know how to explain this, please drop it in the comments below. Alright, y'all. I'm done. Let's get back to the video. Shout out to Damian Michaels Extreme.
How you think they're running on? They're being looked without wires and thus a myriad of transportation problems. Transmitting radio waves without materials hit upon with the idea of using light beams as elevated conductors. It is well known fact that an induced gas is a conductor. In fact,
We trying to figure it out, y'all. All we get is breadcrumbs. All you see right here, we just working off the breadcrumbs, man, to try to find out some type of truth.
Ray working with them, so they're using gas, violet rays, an arc of mercury vapor. Lamp A is arranged to throw a beam of ionizing rays vertically. They're using mercury to throw light rays to power vehicles, man!
I'm telling you, this ain't no joke. That's crazy. It's like almost like a revelation. Man, like the tree stumps. Man, you gotta get your paradigm right, man.
As a conductor, the surrounded ionized air practically a perfect insulator. This is how planes are flying. And when I saw this, I thought to myself, yo, what if the ley line or the wireless transmission, what if that frequency is off and that's what causes airline delays? Because there uses wireless power. It's right there. But when the mind's blind, the eyes can't see.
Now, look at this beam. The crazy thing is, let me show you a beam that we featured on Dark Waters 9 not too long ago, if I can find it. Speaking of light beams, look at this beam. Now look at this beam. I'm gonna play it. They could be testing out that wireless energy, y'all. That's what I'm starting to think. This is an energy. They got a Mercury rectifier shooting up in the ionosphere, and they're trying to figure out how far of a signal they can go. This could be a possibility, y'all. We have a lot of new people on the channel. I want to dive a little bit deeper into the Mercury rectifiers to shed some light possibly on this wireless technology. Yo,
How close can we get to the thing?
tell me that doesn't look like that old ancient tech we just was looking at. Bro. Some type of mercury or steam. They were able to manipulate the free energy somehow. So they're manipulating the free energy they have been receiving. Man, we gotta get to the bottom of this. Bro, what is that girl holding? Did you see that? The Statue of Liberty. Someone in the comments said was the Statue of Liberty. One of those charging points, and I believe so. Man, we on to something now, y'all. What is she doing here? Guys, what is she doing? Look at this. A cord that's bright. What is this? Could she be recording some type of message? Was this their way of... I can't even begin. And look at my man, he's talking. It looks like they're somehow able to control the ether. How are they able to control this? And it looked like whatever is talking, like a hologram. Like a hologram. I think we're getting there, y'all. We're getting there. A little bit more progress, but more questions remain. Whoa, there they go, moving fast again, like always. Was this their way of a hologram? Man, they showing them so quick. I'm trying to stop it. Some type of electricity producing some type of gas. It's like endless. Whatever it's projecting is endless. It's not recycling itself. This looks like it's projecting the same gas somehow. Some type of hologram. This one, it looks like it's projecting the same gas. Why does he have a wand though? This kind of looks like a robot with, I don't know if those are supposed to be ears or what. But whatever he's communicating, this looks like a gas or smoke. Like a hologram. And Buddy has a wand. You know what that reminds me of? That episode on, not the episode, the movie on Harry Potter where they took their tears and put it in that puddle so they can see like their memories or something. I don't know. But he has a wand and it's kind of making me think about it a little bit with this gas. So, you don't know, y'all, this is very interesting.
Dude. Whoa. How close can we get to the thing? Dude. Whoa.
Yo!
How close can we get to the thing?
Tell me that doesn't look like that old ancient tech we just was looking at. Bro! Blue is beautiful, whatever color that is. Do y'all see this? Yo, what is that? Plasma? That look like plasma. A Mercury arc? Rectifier? A Mercury arc rectifier. That's the key. Uh-oh. We found the key. This could have been their internet. This could have been their source of TV. This could have been how they've been powering everything. This might be the key to harnessing the ether and storing it. For entertainment purposes only. Don't come for me. This is a reaction. Yeah. Yo, is that the plasma? Yo, where are they? Bro, it's got no sound. They stumbled across this old arc reactor. Straight out of Tony Stark, y'all. Right in front of our faces. They always do this. This is the straight Star Wars holograms. This is the Tony Stark reactor. This is it. Free energy. Tony Starkin for real. Oh, it's over. It's game over. Look at that. Let me go. Look how beautiful that blue was looking. Look at that. Man, imagine if this was powering your homes or your cars or our vehicles. We would never need to get gas again. For entertainment purposes only. Y'all, let's go. What do y'all think about that? What was it called? The Mercury arc rectifier. That's what we need to dive on these dark waters. Y'all, this is Dark Waters 9 for real. We are in deep. I'm lost in these waters, y'all. I'm gonna be honest, I'm lost. And I'm gonna need these Mercury arc reactors to get back to land, cause I'm out of juice. These dark waters is not producing any more light, so we need these Mercury arc reactors to bust in and put these jet skis into overdrive. Let's go. The dots are starting to get connected, y'all. I'm not gonna hold you. This is gonna be a good episode. So I hope you can sit tight, pause the video when you have to, take a break, come back, because we're diving in today. holograms, free energy, reactors, we're diving in. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button and activate all notifications so you don't miss a video, or you're not late to the party. You're not watching the video I did 5 days ago, because trust me, 4 probably done dropped since you done seen that video 5 days ago. All notifications. Let's go. Jet ski Chuck, baby. Out to my boy David Walker for doing this video. I'm gonna be giving y'all the credit to this in the comments. I try to give credit as much as I can.
This machinery. In the early part of the 20th century, electricity supplies were not generally available. What there was usually generated by small companies, mostly for their own need, and then distributed in the immediate local area. As a result, there was no standardization of the type of electricity or the voltage. Companies generally chose to generate whatever was convenient for their own needs. That might be DC, it might be AC, it could be high voltage or medium voltage. And if it was AC,
This is for entertainment purposes only. Do your own research on everything.
it could be at any frequency that the machinery they used generated. On this site, it was convenient to generate DC voltage because what they wanted it for was to power motors and lights. And DC at that time was much easier when it came to motors. And so they chose to generate 200 volts DC. When the national grid was installed in the early 1930s, this was AC voltage at around 415 volts, 3-phase, 240 volts, single phase. Faced with the choice of either replacing all the machinery or to change the AC to DC, that was the simplest option. And the technology of the day was the Mercury arc rectifier. Rectifiers work because they will only pass current in one direction. AC reverses current and continually.
This is those things we kept seeing here. I'm gonna put them over there. That Mercury arc rectifier, this is what we've been seeing, but different versions of it.
In our case in the UK, 50 times a second. If you apply an AC voltage to a rectifier, it will cut out the reversed half of the cycle.
And I believe people are finding these all over. Like those boys we seen that ran across that dusty one. They're hidden underground, you know, under the cities. They're saying some of them are still underground under the mud flood, or however they're getting underground or abandoned places. People are finding them, still working.
So you get current that flows only in one direction. That is a form of DC. Mercury arc rectifiers were invented by a man called Peter Cooper Hewitt. He was the inventor of the mercury discharge lamp. He was trying to produce a light that was brighter than the currently available incandescent lamps. And he patented that in 1901, but realized that if you put AC across a mercury vapor lamp, it rectified into a form of DC. And from that he developed the Mercury arc rectifier. These contain a pool of mercury in the bottom of the bowl, which produces a vapor which fills the bowl. Around the periphery are the electrodes, the anodes, which collect the current. These rectifiers were made at the Hackbridge and Hewittic Company, which was actually based in Walton-on-Thames, just a few miles from where we are in this building today. Now, to start a rectifier, you need an arc, and as it's a totally enclosed glass envelope, what you have is a spring wire from a small arm which is just out of sight, which has an electromagnet under it. When we start the rectifier, the electromagnet pulls the wire into the mercury pool. That shorts the electromagnet out, which releases the wire and creates a spark, which is then picked up by two small anodes at the back to keep the arc flowing. What happens is when the spark is created, it ionizes the mercury vapor and makes it conductive. When we apply 6 phases around the main anodes and connect a load, the arc is picked up by each of the anodes, and whichever of the anodes is positive at that one time, that's the anode that conducts. So in fact the arc is passed around between the anodes successively, round and around and around. Of course this happens at a very rapid rate, and so you can't actually see it rotating, but what you will see is where the arc touches the mercury at the bottom creates a very bright spark, and because the arc is moving around, this spark darts about. We have a transformer in the basement which converts, because the arc is.
So those photos we've seen of the ancient Tartarians, ancient tech, they were able to get faces in that somehow. So were they able to spray this? They found a way to disperse it like a mist and to keep it in rotation? But how would they keep it generating through the mist? Was it absorbing the mist? Interesting. Your thoughts below. Let's keep it rolling. We got time today, but trust me, it gets way deeper.
Moving around, this spark darts about.
It always gets deeper. There's no end, honestly. I've been lost on these waters.
We have a transformer in the basement which converts the incoming 3-phase supplies to 6 phases. But because it's rather large, you can't just connect it straight to the supply. So there's a starting sequence. This takes about 5 seconds. So when I press the start button, there will be a gap of about 5 seconds. The arc will be struck and picked up, and you'll see it operating. At the same time, the cooling fans at the bottom of the cabinet will also start. So I'll now move over to the end of the cabinet and press the start button. And the starting sequence is going through, and immediately the rectifiers start. Now you'll see that because the electricity is flowing through the mercury vapor glows this characteristic blue-green color. The more current we pull through the arc, the brighter it becomes, and we can demonstrate that in just a moment. But to do so, I need to connect the rectifiers. These 2 rectifiers work in parallel to the main DC switchboard, and we do this with the switch at the top here. That's now connected these rectifiers to that switchboard, and you can see we're generating a voltage there. I shall now switch the.
Now, I'm no computer engineer, but I do know we have a more upgraded system for a switchboard. So if we could get this Mercury arc rectifier in an updated version, we would be on some Tony Stark type Iron Man type stuff for real. Look, I'm no computer engineer by any means. I do have a forklift license that expires in 2026. But check this out. If we could get this going, look at these. This is an old school circuit board. I know we got some switch boxes, some Cisco switch boxes that is newer than this. I did a little bit of computer networking, and I can tell you that we can get an upgraded system with some gold running all through there. Thanks to y'all, I know gold is one of the best conductors for electricity. Good looking, y'all. You know, it's the communication for entertainment purposes only. Y'all get some gold switches going on here. You know what I'm saying? They can't stop us. But the gold, getting some gold switches and giving the updated system. Could y'all just imagine? We would be on some Tony Stark type stuff, y'all. Y'all imagine having a boat or plane or a car ran off of a Mercury arc reactor. We wouldn't be talking about, oh, how many horses you got. I'll say how many reactors you got in that thing, cuz. Come on, y'all. It's time to elevate.
Rectifiers onto the main distribution bus bars. There, we're now connected to the bus bars and can connect any of the loads around the building using the individual switches here. Okay, I'm now going to switch on some power which will use the rectifiers, and you'll see that as I switch it on, the glow in the bulb will become brighter. Firstly, I'll connect a load which is 20 amps. You'll see the meter at the top read. 20 amps is fairly near the bottom of the meter, so it won't move it.
This
a
is
great
where
deal.
Tony Stark's
The
arc
glow has
reactor
got much
came
brighter, and all of the anodes are now in operation. And all of the anodes are now at the top read. 20 amps is fairly near the bottom of the meter, so it won't move it a great deal. So the glow has got much brighter, and all of the anodes are now in operation. If I switch that off and connect a load which is 40 amps, you'll see that gets brighter again, and the meter is now reading 40 amps, and with the two together, that's as bright as we will go today.
No, turn it up. We got people watching. We can't go that. We gotta go brighter. Guys, that was incredible. We are definitely on something with this ancient Tartarian tech. Could this be possibly how they're charging the airships, their homes, their vehicles, and all that? Check this out. This creepy and scary TikTok that might make you rethink your reality is for entertainment purposes only. Come for me. Oh, look how cool that looks, y'all. Imagine if we had one of those sprites from the upper atmosphere hitting one of these Mercury arc reactors. You know how much energy we would get? Mercury arc rectifier. My fault, not the reactor. Rectifier. I gotta learn the difference. What is the difference between rectifier and reactor? I thought I'll get an automatic answer for that. But not today. Normally when you ask a question, you know, she'll start yapping. But nah, she said, nah, you gotta do a little bit more research for that. We ain't got that answer. Definition for rectifier.
Here's the definition of rectifier, an electrical device which converts an alternating current into a direct one by allowing a current to flow through it in one direction only.
So it only flows in one direction. Definition of reactor.
Here's the definition of reactor. An apparatus or structure in which fissile material can be made to undergo a controlled, self-sustaining nuclear reaction with the consequent release of energy.
Can a reactor be non-nuclear?
According to fact sheets about INL, Idaho National Laboratory, the DOE microreactor program is developing a thermal hydraulic test capability called the Microreactor Agile Non-Nuclear Experimental Testbed.
What is this? It's a PDF fact sheet I gotta download. They're just using heated air, basically. So from these blueprints from micro reactor program, I'm looking at their blueprints and I'm reverse engineering the blueprints, and I have discovered that they're using heat. They are using heat, compressed heat, to make self-sustaining energy. But if we think about it, we wouldn't need a reactor if we already have the ether. So all we would need to do is channel the ether through the rectifier. So that's the question, is how do we channel the ether through the rectifier? So we're not trying to make a reactor like Tony Stark. We just need to tap into the ether, y'all. Damn. Lean not on your own understanding. Oh yeah, it's time, y'all. It's time. It's time to evolve. Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. It's time to evolve. The people are waking up. It is time to evolve. Time to turn up. Time to get some real progress done around this. Huge shout out to Photonic Duction for this video. I'm gonna put his link to this full video in the comments. Try to give credit when I can, y'all. Look, he's connected to car batteries to get this. We're trying to get connected to the ether.
And off.
And while I'm on top of this ether dome, now that I think about it, I think I've been seeing somewhere that water records memory. What if the ether has memory, just like the avatar strings in the tree forest? If the ether has memory, this could be something completely different than we ever thought of. It could have been internet for the world back in the time if the ether was able to record memory. Think about it for a sec. We really don't know why. Maybe if the ether is made up out of everything, and if the water is made up out of ether, I don't know. This is just an idea I'm just throwing out there. But if there's some way it can record or give communication, the ether could, this could change the game for the internet on how they had internet back in the day. Because they had cell phones back then. I'm going to show you after this, but I want...
Sets it off. bottom there is the exciter, and we get that to dip in the mercury. There's a little magnetic thing there. Normally a solenoid goes on that, but if I put this magnet on it, that will pull that into the mercury like this, look, and that sets it off. So that's what gets a few mercury atoms flying around.
My fault, y'all. I try not to interrupt them, but we know what happens when you spin them boys at the bottom. Don't worry, it was later. It's a long video, y'all. Bear with me. We got a lot to cover. For entertainment purposes only, do your own research.
Obviously now we'll start conducting on these anodes. Yeah. Normally a solenoid goes on that, but if I put this magnet on it, that will pull that into the mercury like this, look, and that sets it off. So that's what gets a few mercury atoms flying around, and once that happens, obviously now we'll start conducting on these anodes back to the transformer. So to start it, it's quite straightforward. 240 volts, 38 volts, something like that, 30, 38, into a rectifier, through these resistors, through this choke, which gives a nice kickback, and that's all what runs it. That's my phone, I apologise. So I'm plugging this circuit in.
I love the accent.
Now we're going to start
proper.
it. Excitation. Now main power from this lot. There we go. Excitation off.
Outstanding. How come we weren't taught this at all? I wonder.
That's the transformer there making some noise. So the power supply side is all this nonsense. As I say, it's an 11 kV split phase transformer, which the National Grid would normally use, but it's handy because it's split phase. That down the bottom is the output.
And if this was a Tartarian, instead of having all this connected, they would probably be running this to their chimney. And their chimney or their fireplace, they probably would have these wires connected to their fireplace. And on top of their fireplace, they'll probably have an antenna that probably, if it got struck, would probably even charge it even more. That's why it's higher up in the air. So struck by lightning, it'll probably be high up in the air, so it'll even charge it even more. Just that free energy. I remember if that's what Homeboy was trying to do when he had that kite. Who knows? But I just know that if they're able to get that ether up from that ionosphere and they're using this to charge it, all you would need is a rectifier. They'll be like a reactor. Who needs a reactor? And we got all this ether the Most High gave us.
These two would be the anodes going in. And the primary of this transformer is only being fed by this one. It's 100 amps. So with a pile of transformers. Sounds nice though, doesn't it?
This is a 50-year-old Mercury reactor by my boy Photo.
But more importantly,
Photonic Duction.
Doesn't that look nice?
Yeah, it looks nice. Photonic Duction, thank you for all your hard work. I'm gonna put this video link in the comments.
I could
Check
watch
them
that
out.
all day.
Like and subscribe.
Better than TV,
I did.
innit? You've got to be mad to have one of these in your living room. Don't get many shots like that. Normally these things are all behind a screen and you can't even get close to it. But there's me touching it. Like a giant plasma ball.
Hey, we seen what the little girl was doing earlier. Don't try it at home, but hey. Hey, we seen what that girl was doing on the earlier photo.
Might be better with the lights off though, really. Don't know. That's the transformer rattling. Bit of magnetic field over there.
What is he doing? Red Mercury. Then how does it turn silver? Levitation technology? You mean they could levitate? By rapidly vibrating? Those look like the I just was about to say, those look like the scooters that they have around town already. They've been doing that for years already. We just now, my town doesn't even have those yet. How was they doing this? How was they extracting the ether from the rectifiers to get these boys pumping? Look, this is real. This is all your boy Tesla did. That was fascinating. I have no idea what, that could be some type of steam propelled vehicle if we can get the engine working right. It's just, all you needed was heat. Man, this is so fascinating. It's time to put all the pieces together and see what's really going on. Hey guys, huge shout out to Paul Cook for making these videos. If you guys haven't checked him out, go check him out. I just came across this video and I was like, hey, I gotta do a live reaction to this video because it is going directly what we're talking about. I highly recommend you go give him check him out. I'm a huge fan. I just became one. I'm gonna put the link to this video and his Patreon in the comments below. Yeah, check this out.
Popping up from the early 1900s. We went through all this a year and a half ago, so we know all this. But one thing I've noticed after going over these pictures again is a little device that I keep seeing lit up everywhere, which is the Mercury arc rectifier. That's right, Mercury. Now I'm going to go through its role in the secret underground tube system, which we call the Mail Rail. Its role on the London Underground, and also its role in charging electric cars that are over 120 years old, just like this. So let's get stuck into it properly, shall we? The history of the electric car. It all started in 1832. The very first car was an electric car, and it was not a pattern motor car designed by Carl Benz. A short cultural history. Right, so the history of the electric car started with British inventor Robert Anderson. He built his electric-powered vehicle in Aberdeen, a port city in north-east Scotland, between 1832 and 1839. He had once presented it in an industrial exhibition in 1835. The car could travel around 12 kilometers per hour. It was a bit cumbersome to the steer, but the drive unit was almost as quiet as the powertrain in the new Tesla. This pioneer in automotive history used a disposable battery for this vehicle, and crude oil was used to generate the electricity. This is how Anderson managed to get his electric car on the road long before famous three-wheeled gas-powered Benz pattern motor car in 1886. It stands as proof that cars did not run on gasoline from the beginning. It also goes to say here that in 1881 there was a guy, some French guy, and he built a electrical trike. But the problem I have with this is he says it run on batteries, lead batteries, but batteries can't store alternating current. They can only run on direct current, right? So I don't know how they got this, because it's literally the year after that is when they said they made the first power station for the public, which was the Holborn Viaduct, and that generated alternating current. So if you're getting alternating current from the power station to your house, how was you converting it into direct current? Let's examine these old photos, shall we? These photos that are over 100 years old are better than some of the pictures from the 1960s. I digress. Anyway, cables coming out of this wooden structure, charging up the back of this electric car. Now, this was the early 1900s. That's 110 years old or 115 years old. Same with this one. And same with this one. Now, if you look at the little charger, this one looked like it had no steering wheel. Maybe they were messing around with Photoshop back then as well, who knows, eh? But the point is, this device on the right hand side here, this is what housed the Mercury arc rectifier. Here you go. See, behind it is where it hid. So we're going to have a look at how these things worked and how they changed, or they rectified, alternating current into direct current. And I think it's incredible how they could do this back in the day, you know. This seems like an advanced bit of machinery, but it's old world tech. Very strange. Here we go, look. Mercury arc rectifier charging set. So this was a charging set for the electric cars run. And look, 156 miles on one charge. This is 120 years ago. What happened, eh? And here we go, the Mercury arc rectifier.
Bro, this is so huge. Shout out to Paul Cook for discovering this and breaking all this down. Oh my goodness. They had 150 miles per charge. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm going to try to zoom in on that when I edit this video. But when you zoom, if you can see that, it say 100. He just said 150 miles per charge. And here's the arc reactor right there. The rectifier, I mean. The rectifier right there. So are they slapping these boys in? Let's see what my boy Paul got to say, man. Man, I am a huge fan now.
Now, I actually found one of these in Malta, and I'll show you the footage of it later. And I nicked 770 grams of mercury out of it. I'll show you all later anyway. Let's go. If you could stay with me for a minute, I promise you I won't bore you. A mercury arc valve or mercury vapor rectifier is a type of electrical rectifier used for converting high voltage or high current alternating current AC into direct current DC. It is a type of cold cathode gas filled tube, but is unusual in that the cathode, instead of being solid, is made from a pool of liquid mercury and is therefore self-restoring. As a result, mercury arc valves were much more rugged and long-lasting and could carry much more high currents than most other types of gas discharge tubes. See, this is where it gets a bit booky. Invented in 1902 by Peter Hewitt, mercury arc rectifiers were used to provide power for industrial motors, electrical railways, streetcars and electric locomotives, as well as radios, transmitters and high voltage direct current. Now the problem lies with me is if they were invented in 1902, how were all these other things how was these electric cars being charged up? How was in the 1880s the London Underground and the mail rail converting the power? If they had to use direct current and the only power station was generating was alternating current, how were they doing that? See, I think that's a mix up there and I've caught them out lying. But how do these work then? The operation of the rectifier relies on an electrical arc discharge between the electrodes in a sealed envelope containing mercury vapor at a very low pressure. A pool of liquid mercury acts as a self-renewing cathode that does not deteriorate with time. The mercury emits electrons freely, whereas the carbon anodes emit very few electrons when heated. So
if he's saying that's how the electrons are getting emitted freely, maybe that's how they're able to use these rectifiers to get these faces in there. I'm seeing how their vehicles are kind of moving now, but that's still not explaining how we're seeing these faces pop up in these rectifiers. We're getting close though. I feel it.
The current of electrons can pass through the tube in one direction from the cathode to the anode, which allows the tube to rectify alternating current. When an arc is formed, electrons are emitted from the surface of the pool, causing ionization of mercury vapor along the path towards the anodes. The mercury ions are attracted towards the cathode, and the resulting ions bombarded. The pool maintains the temperature of the emission spot so long as the
Vapor. That's the secret. Mercury vapor, y'all.
current of a few amperes continues. So there you go. Early 1900s, 120 years ago, they were using mercury to rectify, to convert AC to DC. Now, what else were they using mercury for back then? I mean, look at this device. Look at it. This looks like some real old world tech. And don't get me wrong, well, do get me wrong, I don't believe these were invented when they said. I reckon they were around a lot earlier than that. And I believe that mercury has a massive part in free energy. And that's why we don't hear of mercury. That's why we're told it's so dangerous and poisonous, don't go near it, all that jazz. But it's like anything. Do a bit of research and common sense, you'll be alright. But look at it, look, absolutely beautiful there. Now, like I said, I actually found 2 of these in Malta in an old theatre. It used to be an old discotheque, and it converted it into, sorry, it used to be a theatre, then it converted into a disco. But then what happened is the disco shut down, but they left the top floor alone. So on the top floor was the cinema. They had all the electrical stuff up there, stuff like this. They had the Mercury arc rectifiers. They even had reels from the 1950s, and I'm going to show you all that in a minute. But have a look at these. These are the Mercury arc rectifiers. They're everywhere. And
man, that story of Frankenstein's making a little bit more sense, ain't it? What if he was using a Mercury rectifier on some evil doer stuff on a real person? Man, that would be scary. Trying to use a Mercury rectifier on someone that's, expired. This might be some alchemy slash, what's that word I'm looking for? You can pick the class on Diablo. Diablo 4, the necromancer. Trying to put that plasma all up in them. Oh my goodness, this is scary. Wow, this is Darkness 9 waters for real.
I can see them everywhere now. And I've been looking at these pictures for almost 2 years, and I never noticed. And it's funny how you progress and you learn yourself as you get better and wiser. Wise up, eh? And again, just here, just on the left hand side, you can actually see, when you follow the cable round, the Mercury arc rectifier lit up, doing its thing. So the power comes in AC, that converts it to DC, which allows you to charge up the appliance, in this case the electric car, 120 years ago. What happened? What happened? Oh, I can tell you what it was. Petrol. They wanted you to pay for petrol and fuel and things like that. That's what happened. You know the script. Don't need to talk about that. You know the script. We all know the script. This is a commercial world. Everything is done to sell it to us. That's the job of the government. It's to take our money and give it to private companies. But never mind. So yeah, back to the rectifiers, eh? What a piece of tech. Now, I was actually going to go to the mail rail this week to do a tour there, and apparently they've got a working Mercury arc rectifier there. So I will be going there probably in the next couple of weeks, probably. But this is what, so they've changed. So it used to be that, but now what they brought out is they brought out these rectifiers. Now the Mercury arc rectifiers, they got replaced in the 70s. And what they did was they replaced it with these little gadgets. These are rectifiers. So you've got the AC currents going in the centre, and then you've got the direct currents coming out on the outside ones. So it's sort of like a little transformer as well, you know. Now I want to know is what happened to all that mercury. Like I said, I got 770 grams exactly out of one Mercury arc rectifier. There must have been millions. For instance, how many people had electric cars in the early 1900s? So many people, millions of people. So that there'd have been millions of Mercury arc rectifiers, plus the ones used on the tubes, plus the ones used on the mail rail. Like, where is all this mercury gone? And like I said, the little mini underground railway for the mail in London. Let's have a look. I was exploring an archive today, blah 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 blah. Let's see what it says. It's called a Mercury arc rectifier. It's a large glass bulb, and at the bottom is a puddle of liquid mercury, and it really does glow bright blue when switched on. There were several Mercury arc rectifiers in the mail rail. They played a vital role powering the railway from 1959 to 1980s. And again, I believe they're playing with dates again, because when did the mail rail come out? That came out years ago. So what power was that using before the Mercury arc rectifiers come along? It was using alternating current, but how did it convert it? And it's just a load of cobblers. It's all a load of cobblers. History is a lie. It is a complete lie. And again, let's have a look at London Underground. Just while we're talking about London Underground, see, this is the most modern map of the London Underground in 2022, and this is like in 1878. Look how many tunnels there is, and look how many times it passes the Thames. It goes over the Thames 13 times. Like, who dug all this out? There was no power back then. Was this all dug out by hand? Look at Clapham Junction. Thriving, mate. Absolutely thriving. And this is 1878 or 1888. It's basically 130, 140 years ago. Yet the whole place is bored out. Nothing's changed. What, so they dug all this out in a matter of 10, 15 years? Was the whole of London a building site? No. These tunnels are ancient. They've been going on for ages. Every city in the world.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Statue of Liberty was one as well. Yeah, here's the phones they were using. Unbelievable. That's all we have for today's video. If you made it this far, the code word is secret energy. Drop secret energy as the code word. That lets me know you made it all the way to the end of the video. You ain't some random that just in here trolling me. You know, you actually rock with me, and I appreciate that, man. It's not easy, man. I do my best to try to keep my sanity and pump these videos out every day, man. But I feel like we're getting somewhere. We definitely got somewhere today. But man, thank you, man. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. This was disturbing videos, creepy theories, and scary TikToks that might just change your reality. Till next time.